Pompey Sound, your hourly update from Fratton Park, sponsored by Piglet's Pantry, the home of award-winning and handmade food on the South Coast.
Pompey are supposed to be in the hunt for Shandon Baptiste. Let's find out a little bit about the man.
Shandon Baptiste's journey in football is a testament to perseverance through adversity. Born in 1998, the Grenadian midfielder started his youth career with Reading at age 7, only to face early disappointment when he was released at 15 for being too small. After playing park football and attending the John Madejski Academy, Baptiste found his footing at Oxford United's academy in 2015. His early professional career was marked by resilience, particularly in overcoming multiple shoulder injuries during his time at Oxford. Despite these setbacks, Baptiste's talent shone through, earning him progressively better contracts and establishing himself as a key player. His breakthrough 2019-20 season included memorable performances in the EFL Cup, notably scoring against West Ham and captaining against Manchester City. Brentford saw Baptiste's potential and signed him in January 2020 for £2.25 million. His time with the Bees was a mix of highs and lows, including promotion to the Premier League, though injuries continued to challenge him. He showed his quality when fit, memorably scoring against Leeds United and contributing to Brentford's Premier League campaigns. After leaving Brentford in 2024, Baptiste joined Luton Town. At international level, while he made 3 appearances for Granada early in his career, he later kept his options open for potential England selection. Known for his box-to-box midfield style, Baptiste combines energy and technical skill with strong pressing ability, making him a valuable asset when fully fit.
It's a sign of the changing times, isn't it, that nowadays one's ability to press the ball is one of those credentials that you used to see isolated as a good ball player, a good passer of the ball, a good long shot, a good header of the ball. Now it's also a good presser of the ball. And we need a good presser of the ball because one of the things that we're hearing time and time again at Pompey Sound is that we ain't got a solid defensive midfield set up, with Potts disappearing and Marlon Pack lacking the half a yard that maybe he did once have. I never saw Marlon Pack as being somebody whose speed was an essential credential. He's a man who knows what to do and he gets the job done. He's that sort of a midfield player, but OK, he is no longer as young as he used to be. So we've got some space. What we're not going to do, we're not going to do what one news outlet suggests is let Andre Dozzell go. There's a horrible little piece somewhere tucked away, no doubt put together by absolute amateurs. Probably one of them's got a media studies GCSE, not professional journalists at all, and don't know their Pompey, don't know their football, but they've written a piece which is headlined that Dozzell is finished at Pompey. How ridiculous can it get when people who regard themselves as professional journalists are reduced to coming out with the kind of stuff that you usually get down at the bottom end of social media, with the kids who are fiddling away with their thumbs on their bed, on their mobile phone. It's that sort of standard of rubbish that I find we all find really upsetting. So you're Andre Dozzell and you're having a well-earned break, let's say. You're in the Seychelles or in the Caribbean or, I don't know, you might have gone down to Worthing. It's just as sunny in Worthing as at the moment as it is everywhere else in the world. And then you pick up your phone and you see that about yourself. I mean, there should be a law against it. Intruding into somebody's professional career and private life with stuff like Andre Dozzell is finished at Pompey. Nothing could be further from the truth. Nothing. That man he doubled in stature in the first 10 or 12 games that he had with us. Messino and the coaching staff went to work with him on his game, and they turned his game upside down, and he became an absolute brick in the wall. Hello, Eric. Didn't he? Did he not? I mean, I know you agree with me, but you're a proper football fan. These people who come out with this drivel, tripe, They are not proper football fans. They're not proper people fans. They work from home, if you can call it work. They may not have spoken to anybody since last Tuesday week. That's how much time they spend in their own bedroom. I think it's a disgrace. I think something should be done about it. I think there should be a law against it. I really do think there should be a law against it. And then, freedom of speech. Garbage. You watch yourselves, you people, with what you write. And I'm talking about the people who regard themselves as professionals. I don't think there's any money in what they do, so I don't know how they count as professionals. But the stuff that they come out with in order to fill a bit of space and get a bit of clickbait. Oh, I clicked on it. I felt a duty to read that it was as shallow and as unfabricated as I knew it was going to be, and indeed it is. So yes, we may well be interested in Baptiste because that is a part of the pitch where we do need to stock up a little bit. And a number of names will go in the frame as the transfer window develops. And Baptiste obviously is a fine performer, a resolute, determined young man. He's still a young man with 50 plus appearances in the Premier League to his credit. What Pompey are going to have to look at is his injury record. And I mean, I'm not denigrating the man in any way by acknowledging that, because he has picked up his fair share, perhaps a bit more than his fair share, of bumps and bruises along the way that have kept him out of the game. He hasn't played as many games as he should have done, or indeed he would have loved to have done. So we've got to balance that. If he's available and we can afford him, then a man with 55 Premier League appearances is definite. A man who cost Brentford £2.25 million. This is a jewel in the crown. Are we interested? Of course we're interested. We're interested in all quality central midfield players who have some degree or other of availability. So, but Andre Dezelle, go back to your sun lounger. You ain't going nowhere. We won't let you. You're on a ball and chain, mate. You're Pompey. Through and through. Andre Dezelle is finished at Portsmouth. Oh, how do they sleep at nights?
The EFL is today saying this: bringing in more quality in those forward positions is vital if Pompey are to start climbing the league table in 2025-26. But they also need to bulk up their midfield and add more experience to that area of the pitch. However, despite interest in one free agent, Portsmouth now look unlikely to secure a deal for him, a feeling that will resonate with Derby County. John Swift will leave West Brom once his contract expires on the 30th of June, and he has been in talks with the Blues over a move to the south coast. Born in nearby Gosport, the midfielder spent time in Portsmouth's academy as a youngster before moving to Chelsea. However, as per a report from the News, talks between the two parties look to have broken down, and it now looks very unlikely that Swift will make the switch to Fratton Park this summer. There is still interest from abroad, as well as the EFL, with clubs from Turkey, Saudi Arabia and the USA all looking to secure his signature. While it will be a frustration for Portsmouth to have missed out on Swift, they are not the only Championship side to fail in their bid to bring him in this year. Back in the January transfer window, before Paul Warne was sacked, Derby showed an interest in the midfielder. However, it was reported by John Percy that, despite talks starting off well, in the final hours of the window the deal collapsed and the Rams missed out. Swift was used more sporadically in the second half of last season, and his Baggies departure has been a long time coming. However, at the age of 30, he may not be too much of a loss for Portsmouth.
Well, we'll come back to that in just a second. The matter of his age, because 30 is such a milestone age still, isn't it? It used to be not long ago the beginning of the end of a player's career, and some regarded themselves as lucky to still be playing the game when they're in their early 30s. But that's all changed because of, as we discuss elsewhere on Pompey Sound, the level of fitness and athleticism that modern footballers luckily possess and incubate with great care. But there's another thing here that's worth talking about, and surely that is why did talks break down, if that's correct, and as reported in the venerable organ, the News. If those talks did break down between Pompey and John Swift, as they broke down between Derby in January and the same man. Has this got everything to do with money? And then the age thing sort of overlaps into this, because he must be aware now that he won't be able to play football forever. So he needs to mint his wealth as best he can every week. Now, this is probably fiction, but we do remember recording somewhere that he is paid something like £20,000 a week at West Brom. A salary that surely we're not going to even dream of. And if he's a reasonable-headed lad, he will know that he can't go on commanding such terrific remuneration in the Championship, especially if you can't really hold down a first-team place, which is what looks as though it happened at West Brom for him towards the middle part to the end of the season that's just finished. So he will be aware of that. He will obviously want to earn as much as he can, not only because he has his family's future to think of, but also it's something of a status symbol, isn't it? Just as players look at each other's cars in the car park, if somebody's got a new Porsche or a gigantic Range Rover or whatever, then everybody notices it and does a quick calculation. I wonder what he's earning. Players shouldn't really know what each other is earning, because it can lead to internal strife. Wasn't it Ashley Cole who left Arsenal because... not Ashley Cole, him. Moneybags left Arsenal because he was only being paid £55,000 a week, and he knew that some of the forwards, he's a left back, he knew that some of the forwards were paid 2 and 3 times that, and he wanted the same money as them, and they wouldn't do it. So it's evaluating your prowess as a footballer by comparing your salary with other footballers is inevitable. And it used to be that what a man or woman earned was entirely their business and nobody else's. But football is such a public thing, it's a glass house. We want to see everything we can, and we want to learn everything we can about our club and about our players. So we want to know what they're earning. And from time to time, various websites do publish lists, no idea how authentic they are, of the wages of different players at different clubs. And he is supposed to be one of the better paid players in the Championship. And there will be some, for example, at Leeds, they're Premier League now, but when they had their last season in the Championship, their salary bill was eye-watering. Any 11 players that they put out on the pitch at any one time were collectively worth more than Fratton Park, including the stadium. And we're not going down that route. So I think that John Swift would be a fantastic acquisition for Pompey, playing as he does, the way he plays and where he plays. However, we don't do silly money. We did it once, and look what nearly happened. So we're never going to do it again, or at least not in living memory. Your children's children's children might one day see Pompey pushing the boat out and going crazy, and, gold-plated Lamborghinis in the car park and what have you. But not on our watch. Well, it's not our watch, is it? It's the Eisner's watch, but you know what I mean. So, and the Eisner's watch is almost certainly a Rolex, so they do know how to spend it if they want to. I believe Michael Eisner owns the most expensive house in America. So he doesn't mind putting his hand in his pocket, providing it's right and the price is right. So it looks as though we are passing on John Swift, which is a shame because he would have added an awful lot to the squad, but he would have taken an awful lot away from Fratton Park that other things would have to be sacrificed. And we're not doing that. So good luck to you, Mr. Swift. And next time you're in Gosport, it won't be being measured up for a blue shirt. You'll just have to enjoy the fact that you know where the nearest chippy is, don't you? Wherever you are in Gosport.
Isaac Hayden, who returned to his parent club Newcastle United after his loan spell with Portsmouth, has been forced to fly home from his country's international duties in the CONCACAF Cup. Due home to undergo medical investigations into his health and problems that are related to internal issues, and which may prove to be the result of long COVID. Isaac, who proved to be a staunch stopgap member of Pompey's championship squad, was taken unwell while representing Jamaica in the USA. Hayden, who showed himself a strong and athletic performer on the pitch, was laid seriously low several years ago with a severe case of COVID. He says of the experience,
It took me by surprise, to be honest, how badly it affected me. I definitely underestimated it. I was thinking, I'm a young and healthy athlete, if I have it, I'd be asymptomatic and I'd be fine. But it was tough. I was in bed for 7 to 10 days doing very little and having pretty much every symptom going. It was very difficult. But once I got over the worst of it, the 11th and 12th day I started to do a bit outside and I built up from there.
Well, on behalf of not just Pompey fans everywhere, not just football fans everywhere, but people everywhere, we do wish him well and feel for him. For some reason, it is doubly galling and shocking, really, that somebody as strong as he could be laid so low by a single-cell bacteria, which is what COVID is, basically. You know, it hasn't got a brain or anything. It can't outsmart you. And yet, so many people are still suffering the effects of their bout or bouts with COVID. And yet there are still people, of course, out there, and this is sort of turning away from football for a moment, there are still people out there who honestly believe that it was some kind of intelligence-led conceit to control the population by filling people up with some sort of ointment, you know, the vaccine that would force them to do what they were required to do by the government or the faceless agencies that are supposedly running this country and indeed the world. Well, shut up. You know, Isaac Hayden knows his own body. These footballers of today, sports people, men and women of today, are so profoundly fit, it's hilarious, almost. You know, I was talking to John Messino's family not long ago, and they were saying how hard he worked to keep himself in the best possible shape when he was playing the game. He didn't touch alcohol from the pre-season through until the end of the season. And that was just the start of his regime to keep himself absolutely tippity-top. And then you get this fantastic athlete like Isaac Hayden, who is laid low, so low that he has to come home from international duty in the United States of America. Jamaica were playing. What a great time they could have been having, eating the right food and not drinking too much of the wrong drink, if that's how they go about it. And here he is now flying home, no doubt with a certain amount of concern for the rest of his career, perhaps, and indeed, you know, his prospects of longevity. So, salient lesson there. If you don't look after yourself as well as footballers do, and who does look after themselves as well as footballers do, then just take heed, as Jim Morrison famously put it. None of us gets out of this one alive.